To be frank, every year since 2020 has been truly bizarre for fandom, and I'm predicting that 2024 will almost certainly be the same. I've been active in fan communities since before 2008. I've been in big fandoms, small fandoms, fandoms for books and movies and TV shows and YouTubers and things that I don't even remember. So that's why I decided to bring you all my top 7 biggest, strangest predictions for fandom in 2024, presented in order from most reasonable to most disturbingly specific. Happy New Year, like and subscribe. This is just for fun. It's fine if you disagree, but please be respectful and understand that just because I think something won't be popular doesn't mean I think it's bad. I'm not Nostradamus, I am just a girl who makes videos about fandom. We are going to start off with some controversy, but please hear me out. I don't think anime is going to pop off this year, in English-speaking Western fandoms, at least. And I don't mean that there won't be good anime, or that people who are already really into anime will stop watching it or anything like that. What I mean is that over the past decade or so, anime in the United States has had its own kind of magical girl transformation. Even in middle school, when I first started watching anime, it was really not at all a socially acceptable thing to do. I mean, even as I was starting to watch anime, I was still poking fun at my friends who were watching anime. It was a very socially complicated time for nerds. It started to slowly become more popular and more well-respected here right up until 2020, when it blew up. Suddenly, everyone was watching it. The so-called popular kids, your mom's coworker, my boss at the time. And then I would say since that point, it has settled down a little bit. It's still more popular than it was before, but it's not something I see as many people outside of the usual group of enthusiasts talking about. And I don't really think that's going to change this year, even within this fandom space. I think for that to happen, there needs to be something with really broad crossover appeal. There were shows that were really big last year, certainly. I know Trigun Stampede had a huge moment, Jujutsu Kaisen was super duper popular, but I wouldn't say that these things had like a huge cultural impact in the United States, and I wouldn't say that they really brought a ton of new people into watching anime. I just think it's gonna be a while before we get something with hype of that caliber again. If you're enjoying this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Your support means the world to me. Now, in direct contrast to my last point, I do think there's going to be some more commotion for Western animation. I'm talking your Encantos, I'm talking The Owl House. It won't necessarily be a Disney movie, because quite frankly, I think Encanto was a fluke, but I think there's gonna be something. And actually, it probably will be owned by Disney, considering how many different pies they've got their stupid gloved fingers in. Can you think of a word that starts with M and rhymes with Monopoly? People like kids shows. Not that every cartoon is a kids show, but a lot of the big ones are. They're having a moment. And I'm not just saying that because I just watched Gravity Falls for the first time. I just really do think there's going to be another middle grade animated series that everyone gets obsessed with and then it gets canceled after one season. Or maybe everyone's just gonna like get really into Adventure Time again or something. Okay, still on the reasonable side here. I think that more fanfiction-inspired books are going to get fandoms of their own this year. And by fanfiction-inspired, I don't necessarily mean fanfiction with the serial numbers filed off and published as a traditional book, but I mean novels that significantly incorporate common tropes or stylistic choices from fanfiction communities. And although there's been a lot of discourse online about whether books in general are getting more fanfiction-y, to me a lot of those books just read as fairly bog-standard romances with the most TikTok-friendly AO3 tags slapped onto them for marketing purposes. Because let's be real, enemies to lovers is AO3 amateur hours. So I don't mean that, I mean stuff that genuinely reads like fic. And no, I don't mean the beautiful experimental fanfiction you read once at 3 a.m. that touched you in ways that no one has ever touched you before and that was written by the world's most depressed grad student. I mean that fic that's popular in the fandom mostly just because it recycles an AU that people have read 1,000 different times before, and everything else in the fandom tag is written in first person, so at least it's not that. Not to say that it can't be good, I just think we're going to see more novels that are written like fanfiction aimed at the most common denominator get big this year, and I think we're gonna see them get fandoms of their own. There's a lot more to say on this subject that I don't really have time to talk about here, but if you want evidence that not only is this possible, but actually likely, Disney, I rest my case. All right, now we're getting weirder. Okay, this one might be a little bit of a shot in the dark, but I think we might see a renewal of interest in teenager musicals this year. Like musicals that teenagers love, musicals for edgy teens, musicals for teens that are really, really mad at their mom today, okay? You know, like Heathers, Next to Normal, Dear Evan Hansen, God knows what else. They had like a fandom moment a couple of years ago, but I think that's gonna happen again. I think they're gonna pop up again, especially considering the fact that they are making a movie adaptation of the Mean Girls musical, which is a teenager musical somehow, despite the fact that Mean Girls, the original movie, is like so old. But I think either some of those older musicals that have had a moment are going to have another one, or we're gonna see some sort of new edgy teenager musical come out and get a cult following on Tumblr this year. Or no, more TikTok. It's gonna be TikTok. It's always TikTok now. Now, hold on to this thought for a future prediction. Okay, we're gonna come back to this. We better not get any more Barrett Wilbert Weed discourse this year though, or I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay, this one is not like unlikely at all, but it's not super fandom and it is a little bit specific, so I decided to put it a little further down in the list. I think Disney is going to make a movie with their first gay character in it. Again, every year or so, Disney makes a big movie where some character is like a blink and you miss it gay in some slightly different way. So it gets a bunch of news coverage about being Disney's first gay character that X, Y, and Z. Even though we've done this like a million times and no one cares anymore and it sucks every time. What I will give you is that if it doesn't happen this year, it's totally happening next year because they're making a live action Snow White movie that's coming out in 2025. And I swear to you, there's going to be a joke about one of the dwarves being gay. I 100%, I know this in my heart, in my brain, in my soul. There is going to be a joke about one of the dwarves being gay, and the only way we're gonna know, there's gonna be a tiny little thing where he's like holding hands with a dude or some whatever, and someone is gonna make a stupid quip about how they should have known already because he was always way too happy to be living with 6 other men. Sorry. Okay, now we're gonna be getting kind of both out there and also specific. I think it's time. He was the definition of cringe for years and years, but I think 2024 is gonna be his year. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda is coming back, baby, and I think he's bringing Hamilton with him. Here's the thing. Most people liked Hamilton until it got too popular and it started to annoy them. Like, obviously there are problems with Hamilton, don't get me wrong, but most people don't actually care at all. Most people don't care about that. Most people don't care about the image of the founding fathers or like the way that it ignored the like tensions of slavery and stuff like that. Most people don't care about that. They just kind of care about whether other people like it or not. Encanto was beloved, proving that most people still like his style, even if they think he's kind of cringe to like look at or talk about too obviously. And he's got a role in that new Percy Jackson show right now. Even if people don't love his performance, as long as he doesn't bomb too horrifically, I think he might catch some of the warm fuzzy feels most people are having around Nostalgia Bait the series right now. Listen, I'm not guaranteeing that it's going to happen. I'm just saying that we all need to prepare ourselves for the 2024 version of Hatsune Miku binder Thomas Jefferson. And now we're on to the last one, the weirdest one, because I'm predicting another resurgence. And I know that hindsight has beat this work into the ground. I know that although it had, and in some ways still has, a very effective fandom presence, that no self-respecting person, fandom or otherwise, would ever discuss this work in a serious or admiring way. I know these things. But listen, nostalgia is hot right now. The 2010s are hot right now. I just made a whole video about it. And you know what happened last year? Supernatural had a bit of a renewal in interest. And you know what's happening right now? Doctor Who is having a huge renewal in interest. Yeah, that's right. You've probably guessed what I'm going to say already, but I'll say it anyway. I think BBC Sherlock is coming back.
Miss me?
I truly tried to add something for everyone in these 2024 predictions, but most notably, weebs, people clinging on to their childhood, lovers of booktok discourse, theater kids, Disney adults, and their haters, theater kids that post about how nothing has felt real since 2016, and even depressed people in their 20s. One more reminder that this is just for fun, not serious at all, and that if you want to share your 2024 fandom predictions, leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching.